Yeah, the nice guy often lives under the surface until, I mean, it all comes out in relationships. Always he's exposed in relationships, especially those closest. And what comes to mind, just by way of anecdote, yesterday I had a really good coaching call with one of our guys in our priest group, and he was processing how, as seen as he's got one housemate, he lives with his pastor, and he was reflecting on every Wednesday at three in the 3 o'clock hour, wherever he is, his pastor seems to walk in the same room that he's in, and it causes him some stress. He's nervous, he gets anxious, he's like, I'd like a little privacy. And he can kind of start going down this rabbit hole of victim, bitterness. Can I get a little bit of privacy? Can You could even say respect. The problem is, there's a couple problems. One, his pastor doesn't know that he's in a freedom group, right? So there's some fear there. There's some shame there. But then he has a need here. Okay, and so we got to, like, what's the core need? You don't necessarily need to have the whole house by yourself, but what do you need? You need some privacy. Why? So that you can have freedom to enter into the container that a 1 hour of a freedom group can provide for you to go somewhere. And so we were talking through his fears, his reservations, his hesitations, one, to share his story, but more than that, to ask for what he needs. And we even talked about that word need, and I think we've talked about that here before, where, and again, I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit today, but especially in the Christian world, we're like, it's not about what you need. It's about laying down your life. It's about being a gift to others. But the whole process is, as you said, self-awareness, right? Self-knowledge is meant to lead to that self-mastery, an integration of your emotions with your will and character, which is then meant to lead to self-gift. And so the process of articulating what you want, what you need, and this is in line with self-respect and acknowledging, owning, becoming aware, because so often we don't even know what we want. We don't even know what we need, because we've lived so many of our lives. We talked about enmeshment in the past. Like, I don't know where you begin and where I end, and it's all, I don't know what I even want. I don't even know what I even need. So just the act of naming it and then asking for it. Okay, whoa, that's where the pressure turns up and the heat turns up, is asking for what you need. And so we walked through. I encouraged him to ask for the time to sit down, rather than just trying to bring it up at dinner and trying to get through it quickly, for multiple reasons. One, it's important to, you don't want to rush through this. Both sharing your story with your brother priest and asking for what you need. One, it's important to create the space. And then two, if you don't schedule it, or if you don't say, hey, I'd like to talk and share something with you, the resistance is so strong because we nice guys we don't have the self-respect. We don't express what we need. So if there's not some accountability to do it, if I'm not forced to do it, I won't do it. When the time comes to drop the puck, I'm not going to drop it. I'm just going to hold on. And so, he says, okay, well, it's Thursday night. Tonight's usually a good night. So I messaged him saying, hey, praying for you, man. Looking forward to hearing how it goes. I got a message from today saying it ended up not working last night because he was just going to bring it up, which is like, hey, no shame. That's the importance of scheduling it. So really it's coming down to, knowing what you want, naming what you want, and then asking for what you want, and then inviting others into your story. So I share that by way of anecdote, that and again, he's growing in confidence, in self-respect, and being a grounded man. And we can't really be that self-gift that we're all called to be, to break free of the nice guy, without that self-respect.